So hello all and welcome. It is I, the realist philosopher. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm doing about as well as can be expected. But anyway, in this video, I wanted to talk about a dude by the name of Styxhexenhammer666. And this guy is a... Now this is very interesting because usually you only see this phenomenon on the left. But he's a right-leaning, self-identifying conservative, but he's also a Satanist who has his very own demon owl god by the name of Stolas that is like his personal deity that he worships and prays to, and he also even has an amulet with this demon, and it's supposed to protect him and keep him safe and serve him, or he serves it. I don't know, it's a reciprocal relationship. I don't know how this works, but anyway, dude is a self-proclaimed occultist, Satanist, practitioner of ceremonial magic and the summoning of demons. He claims to have actually seen demons before. He's also taken copious amounts of psychedelics and such, so, you come to your own conclusions about what he's actually seen and if it's real or not, or just some kind of, drug-induced delusion. But anyway, this is all delusion too. Demons running around, demon owls. But that's supposedly, apparently, what he worships, and he calls himself God. He's a Satanist. It ought to be telling you that in the name, 666. But he also identifies as a conservative. But anyway, this dude used to be very popular until YouTube came down really hard on him because, like me, he suffers from telling the truth and actually touching on some issues that are more causal than symptomatic. So, yeah, he's very heavily algorithmically suppressed. He gets decent views. I mean, decent compared to somebody like myself, like 25,000 a video, and he makes about 5 videos a day. So he's getting about, I'd say, on average, 100,000 views a day, so 3 million views a month. So is he... I don't know if he is monetized, though. He might be demonetized. I really don't know. But anyway, this dude, he's been more popular in the past. And anyway, if you look at him, he's a spindly, soy boy-looking guy. And he looks like he's about 120 pounds soaking wet. And this guy just went to jail in New Orleans. Now, he was married, but his wife left him, or he left his wife, I don't know, over there in Holland or something. He used to live over there with his wife. Until, allegedly, he became abusive to her, physically, maybe. That's what I've heard. I've also seen a bunch of his ex-girlfriends, and I mean a bunch, popping up online and popping their heads up like a game of whack-a-mole, talking about how he was physically abusive with them. Now, I don't know. I guess, there's some truth to the fact that a man, no matter how spindly and soy boyish he is stronger than your average woman. Because they're saying that this guy was physically abusive. I'm looking at him. I mean, she's a tiny, petite little thing, I guess. But if she does any working out, she'd be able to kick his butt. So... But anyway, I take these kind of things with a grain of salt. Bill Cosby case comes to mind. So, if he's convicted, I'll be more likely to believe it. If more women start popping up, if they're telling similar stories, I mean, then you start to think they're a little more credible. Given what I know about this guy, though, he's a raging alcoholic and drug addict. And, I think it's not outside the realm of possibility. So he just spent 3 days in jail for domestic assault on his latest piece of arm candy, a side chick. I don't know what she is. I think he was filmed recently on a live stream groping her. This guy. He's such a wholesome conservative Satanist. That's why I said that's usually on the left. So I don't see too many right-leaning conservatives, so I don't know. But anyway, he's here. He's talking about his experience in jail. So let's take a listen, shall we?
All right, everyone, talk about weird times. You probably were wondering where I was for an entire week. Actually, I was in jail.
He was only in jail for 3 days, by the way, but I guess his brain is cooked so much he can't keep track of time very well.
Don't worry, I'm gonna have no problem with the charges. They're pretty spurious. But I do have some fun stories with regards to that. Now, of course, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the case for legal reasons. And actually, it turns out that Jeremy, the quartering, was the one that posted my bond. So big.
Yeah, Jeremy of the quartering, who hates the red pill and thinks red pill dudes are losers, has said so himself on Twitter. And then those tweets that he made saying that miraculously disappeared right before he did an interview with Baldy, Roly Poly, the Joker. So that's interesting. Jeremy, the grifter, we ought to say. The guy who makes the coffee that costs like, what, $20 for 10 cups or something of coffee?
Shout out to him. I owe him a number of free live streams as a result of this. I just wanted to tell...
By the way, I think that Styx has hit such hard times. I think the quartering is actually hired and is paying Styxhexenhammer, a.k.a. Tarl. Interesting first name. So he's in the employ, I think, now of the quartering. I think that might have something to do with why the quartering just laid off a bunch of his employees so he could pay this greasy-looking douche.
A little bit about the experience, though. You know, you get dragged off by the police, you get booked and all this bullshit. And then you go to jail. Not prison, it's just jail. Temporary holding while they, figure out sort of what's going on. Then you have to go and do a court date and give your testimony and stuff like that, and then they figure it out later. Here's my experience. Overall, there were some very unpleasant things about it, but then...
I love he downplays everything, by the way. It was just jail, not prison. And there were some unpleasant things. Yeah, did you bend over to pick up the soap, my friend? Yeah, 120-pound skinny white dude in a New Orleans jail with a population that's probably 90% black. Yeah, I wonder how that went down.
And there were things about it that were surprisingly, easygoing. For instance, one of the first things that I saw when I arrived in the jail was actually a dude snorting cocaine. He had a little white packet and he was chopping it up with his fingers, and then he had a little straw and he was snorting it. I'm like, what? How did you get it in here? Then I realized, oh shit, they don't really have any drug checking in here. It was an older dude too. It was a dude in his 60s. And I thought that was surreal. I'm like, that's the first time, by the way, that I've even seen cocaine. And
oh, we know that ain't true. Hey, buddy, you're in your 60s. You could have a heart attack. You better give that to me. Goes Tarl.
happens to be in a fucking jail holding cell.
Who out there believes this is the first time this guy has ever seen cocaine? Get the out of here.
But prior to, getting your orange jumpsuit and shit like that, that was strange.
This guy and Nick Recato probably have a lot in common, minus the law degree, of course.
Then at another point, let me talk about one unpleasant experience first.
In the shower?
Well, they're not really cells, but little glassed-off rooms that you get locked into at night.
I love the minimalization, more minimalization language. Well, it's not a cell because there's glass and not bars. Is it that kind of glass that has the the metal wires woven through it, so it's very difficult to break, and it's 2 inches thick, like you see in the zoo, protecting you from the lions? Is it that kind of glass? Oh, but it's not a cell, no bars. I love the coping.
You're sleeping 12 people to a room, in a room that's way, way smaller than my bedroom at Justana. And unfortunately, they have a shortage of blankets there. And so I slept on a bare floor for a week, with no covering at all. I was lucky.
It was 3 days. I don't know why I keep saying a week. This dude really must be cooked, that he can't remember the difference.
If I could get a little towel to use, fold it up and use as a pillow just for my head to keep that from hurting. I've got bruises on my arms and on my legs as a result of this. Are
we sure that's not from, Jason the Dragon? But then again, look at this guy, how spindly he is. He's an alcoholic, big time. His breakfast is, a few shots of Jack. So, yeah, he looks highly emaciated, Crypt Keeper time, so not much fat on this guy, or muscle, by the way. So I'm not surprised he got bruised just by being on a hard surface.
It was almost unbearable, that part, because I tend to be an insomniac anyway, so that wasn't necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world. But at the same time, there was one hilarious incident, like on the fourth night or something. We had one person in the room, and I believe he was Hispanic, and he went out, and he brought back some, I guess, friends of his. They weren't even sleeping in the room. And they started smoking weed in the room. Again, I was like, when I looked over and I saw what they were doing, I could smell it, and I look over and I see him smoking and with his friends and in the little like sectioned off like quasi bathroom thing. I'm like, holy hell, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, get real! Nobody out here believes that you confronted a room full of big black dudes and big Hispanic dudes who've been in and out of the system probably their whole lives. These guys that are so used to being in jail, they're like, oh, I'm innocent. Inside joke, basically, in prison. Everybody says they're innocent. And you expect us to believe that you, Tarl, whatever the hell your last name is, I don't remember, Styxhexenhammer666, self-avowed, conservative, Satanist, 120 pounds soaking wet, got up in these guys' grill, or even just confronted them in even a minor way and said, what are you doing? Nobody believes that. Get the hell out of here. I would believe if you said to these guys, hey, what about me? I want a toke. Now, I would believe that.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why are you doing that in here? And they just kind of ignored me.
He's straight as an arrow. He's clutching his pearls, this degenerate scumbag. Oh, yeah.
Apparently this is normal sometimes. Then the guard
I'm very sure it's quite normal in your house, but I love the act that you're putting up, pal.
Outside smelled smoke, and so
this guy's a grifter. He's trying to pass himself off as some kind of straight arrow, conservative, law-abiding, stand-up guy. I've never seen pot. I've never seen coke. Except all the pot I have under my bed and, 20, 30 grams of coke I've got. But hey, all the psychedelics. Allegedly.
They went into the room, and the three of us that were in there at the time, of course, had to, get searched and everything like that. And of course, it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. I was the only one that was cleared to actually come back in the room right away. They never came back, so I'm assuming that they got charged with some additional crime or something. I don't know if pot is legal in Louisiana. Not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure it ain't legal in jail.
I'm still here in the New Orleans area, actually, as we speak. So it was a very interesting...
Yeah, what's he doing in New Orleans, by the way? Is he living with his... I think he's now living with his parents. Dude's been bebopping all over the place since he got back from Holland after whatever happened with his soon-to-be ex-wife and his kid that he now doesn't see because she's on another continent. This stand-up conservative guy left his wife, cheated on his wife, is cheating on his wife now, and is now being charged with domestic abuse, and he's an alcoholic, and he's a degen. But, he's right-wing and conservative, but he's a Satanist. Anybody get the feeling this is just a grift? This conservative persona?
Experience, but one thing that I know
that honestly isn't all that conservative if you have half a brain. Just look at the guy.
Noticed above all is that the actual, the people that are charged with crimes, they're the chill ones. It's the people that are running the jail that are unchill. Not all of them, but some of them. Also,
well, that's what happens when you give people power and control of an inordinate amount, while at the same time putting them in charge of people who are automatically looked down upon because of their criminal nature, criminal records. That really surprises you? Okay.
Thing that Manson said back in an interview in the 70s about the sound of prison being like loud shouting and stuff like that.
By the way, didn't he kind of look like Manson? Minus the glasses?
That's actually true. Everyone was shouting. If you expect a good night's sleep, it's going to be a long night for you. Now, again, I expect to beat these charges specifically. I'm innocent, don't you? Notice he's not saying, by the way, that he's innocent. He's just saying, I'm going to beat these
these charges. Yeah, okay. We'll see, pal. It doesn't look like you can afford a lawyer. Well, by the way, I thought this guy was a multimillionaire. I mean, he's got to be, how many views is he getting a month? I mean, yeah, he's got to be getting 3-4 million views a month. What does that equate to? I mean, after the adpocalypse, he's still got to be making a few grand a month, right? I would think. Does he have any kind of subscription? Like a website somewhere where people subscribe? He's got to be making 4 or 5 grand a month, I thought. How does he have no money? I mean, he had to go to Jeremy of the Quarter and he get bailed out. So that means he's broke. Oh, how are you going to meet these charges? You're going to need a good lawyer, my friend. I don't know. Maybe he'll make a deal. Get a public defender. Who knows?
I don't think there'll be a problem with that, so no worries there. But that's why I was absent for a week. Yeah, I was in a jail
3 days.
in New Orleans, actually. And it was a very strange experience.
Why didn't your demon god Stolas, who is your protector, protect you? Is it because they took your little amulet? He wears an amulet with his demon god Stolas. I thought you were God, Tarl. If you go to his webpage, his channel on YouTube, it says, I am God. Well, if you're God, why don't you just snap your finger and get out of this mess? How'd you end up in this mess to begin with? God would know everything, past, present, future. You would have known you were going to get arrested. Well, you wouldn't even, well, yeah, you wouldn't have been there in the first place. You would have assaulted that woman. God's perfect, of course, but not Tarl, but he's God. Where was your demon God to protect you? Where was your owl demon God? Didn't keep you out of trouble? Didn't tell you the cops were coming? Hey, whisper in your ear. Hey, Tarl, the cops are coming. Get out of here. No, apparently the demon god was on a coffee break.
I wouldn't say a pleasant one. Definitely an unpleasant experience for someone who likes freedom of movement as much as me. But honestly, on some levels, not quite as bad as I expected. Originally, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in jail. And then I was like, oh, well, you know, the food fucking sucks. I didn't eat very much for that entire week, other than a few snacks. You know, the jailhouse the soup and grits and stuff like that.
Grits?
Oh. Mainly just I ate the vegetables and shit like that. I'm looking forward to a real meal now, actually. So I suggest you keep your nose clean. You don't want to have to eat that sort of stuff. And I saw people, they're like wolfing it down. I'm like, how can you even eat?
I wonder what else he was maybe perhaps forced to eat. I don't know. He was in a cell with 12 black dudes, so use your imagination.
Eat some of that food. Although I do admit that the mashed potatoes that they made actually were kind of on point. The one thing I noticed is that they don't use much salt in their food, actually. So yeah, that's why I was absent for a week. I was
3 days.
Actually in a jail here in New Orleans, and you know, I shouldn't have had to go there in the first place, but
God didn't do nothing. Yeah.
It is what it is, you know. It's all good. That's about all.
Yep, that's about all. Satanist, Stolas, worshiping, I am my own God, 666. But supposedly a right-leaning conservative dude. Now, by the way, you don't have to be a Christian or to be conservative. I mean, a lot of conservatives are, but it's not a prerequisite. But also, it kind of clashes with conservatism, the Satanist thing. You know, the live in the moment, the hedonism, do what thou wilt, all that stuff, the materialistic aspect of Satanism. Yeah, embrace the physical world, the worshipping of demons in the shape of owls, practicing magic and summoning demonic entities. Doesn't really jive too well with the whole Christian conservative thing. Politically, he may be conservative in his views, but living as a conservative, this guy's not a conservative in his own life. His views might be conservative. His political leanings, beliefs might be conservative in nature, but the way that he lives his life, the way that he conducts himself, both in private and public, seems to be essentially how you would expect a leftist to act. By the way, most, if not all, leftists are Satanists, whether or not they know it or will admit it. Anyway, on that note, I am out of here. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. Again, click that like, click the notification bell because YouTube don't like me and they algorithmically suppress me out the yin yang, and leave a comment. Supposedly it's good for the algorithm. I don't know. I haven't seen any real boosts from, well, I guess I see some, yeah. But anyhow, and also, if you really like my content, please consider making a donation to my GoFundMe. I recently had a heart attack and spent a month in the hospital just a month and a half ago. I'm still recovering. I need your guys' help and support so I don't end up homeless in the next week or so. So if you would consider making a donation on my GoFundMe, I greatly appreciate it. The link is in the description. You want to find out more about what happened to me, it's detailed on my GoFundMe. Anyhow, I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.